Record. Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome you to PowHer Hour 2.0. I want to, have our lovely co-host here as well with me, Miss Renee Rand in Las Vegas. I have Miss Lisa Griggs in California. And I wanted to welcome everybody here this evening. And Gene, our IT guy who takes care of us all behind the scenes. So you know what? We have a really great information. We're celebrating. And you know what? I'm going to turn it over so we can get into our celebrations to Miss Lisa Griggs first. And if you could tell us about what's going on.
I'm so excited, Veronica. Thank you so much. And by the way, I think you're doing an amazing job at being the main moderator host of our PowHer Hour show. I'm actually in Las Vegas, but I wish I was in Los Angeles because that's where my heart is. But that's okay. With that said, we've had a really powerful week.
Yeah,
our numbers are trending up. And I think it's the big celebration of PowHer Hour becoming an official, corporation, LLC, and a real business. And then on top of that, our PowHer Hour group is just, it's growing by leaps and bounds. We had over, I think, 50, Gene, I don't know, somebody pipe in. It was over like 50 or 60 women that joined just in the last 3 days or something, or 72 hours. It was crazy. So I know that we're over 700. So make sure you join us at powherhour.me if you want to come into the live Zoom. Otherwise, get us on YouTube and all these other platforms like Facebook. But we're giving away a special prize today. So I'm excited.
And I think we're going to turn that over to Renee. You can tell us about that.
We are. Ladies, we have a really exciting package. You get your choice of a libido package with some really fun goodies in it. Best part about mental health that we're talking about today on the show is every time you have an orgasm, it releases wonderful endorphins that go running through your body to keep you happy. So you get the choice of a libido package or a self-care package if you prefer. And we're going to give that to one of our attendees live on the show today. So we're very excited. So if you end up being the winner today, make sure you don't jump off of this call until we get your information, okay? Really exciting.
And that's being on the actual Zoom itself. So come to powherhour.me to be on the Zoom live to qualify for that.
Absolutely. And we're very excited because we have so many things in the works right now. We have some celebrations coming up throughout this month. And Veronica, you've got it all laid out for us, or Lisa, one of you guys, on all of our dates coming up. So go ahead and share with us because, we're going to have an exciting call today and then we're going to give away some goodies.
Let's go to eat lunch.
All right. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I think that has to do with World Menopause Day is this month, and I'm sure that Veronica's going to talk about that. So
yes, absolutely. You know what? We got a great topic. Mental health is real. So we're going to do mental health and menopause. So with that being said, this is something that people aren't talking about. We know what happens in menopause. There's mood changes, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's cognitive changes. But you know what? In 2025, studies show that about 70% of US women age 35 to 54, they report menopause affecting their mood and mental health. Though only 30%, they only seek support. The lack of support stems from stigma. Though, with 59% of people viewing menopause as a taboo topic, they really do. Furthermore, 25% experience symptoms of anxiety, 28 to 38% experience symptoms of depression. And again, mental health is real and we are talking about it. We're making it known. We're putting it out there. I know we have a 50-state tour coming up. So we are taking it on the road. So super excited about that. You know what? And symptoms increase during perimenopause and menopause itself, which can be exacerbated by hormonal changes and existing mental health conditions. It's really really sad that these issues happen, in workplaces, and especially if you have reduced support, you don't have a supportive partner or significant other. right there, 30% of women experience mood and mental health changes and challenges related to menopause. They have also sought and received support according to recent surveys. So some are reaching out for help, but you know what? Talking saves lives. And if you could just lend an ear and listen to someone. And like I said, I know we have some really great things coming up with mental health awareness day, which is October 10th. That's why we're doing mental health today. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we are kicking it off with mental health. I know October 18th, we have another big to do in Las Vegas for World Menopause Day. The ladies from PowHer Hour are also going to be at the Holistic Health and Healing Expo this coming October 12th, Sunday in Cherry Hill. So come and check it out because we have amazing things. And Lisa, can you tell us who we're sponsored by?
We are sponsored by this amazing company called Zinzino. So excited about their products and the way that they are revolutionizing, really revolutionizing this nation. So excited to be a part of what they're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And you know what? Don't forget to scan that QR code. Call us. You can call us live on here at 877-776-3985. Please be sure to invite, share, get those women on here. Bring your significant others or partners, husbands in on Monday. And I'm going to turn this over to Renee, who's going to add to our mental health and menopause topic this evening. Renee?
Oh, well, it is so exciting to talk about this because I just had a discussion about an hour before we got on the call today with somebody very close to me. And she was sharing with me how in 2018, she was actually thinking about checking out of life. Well, when you get in a position where you have people that are thinking of that, regardless of where they are in that menopause stage, peri, post, or during menopause, there are a lot of people out there that are extremely suffering. So we want to make sure that we actually get to connect and get to information to these people because menopause itself has over 80 symptoms. And, when you think of menopause, you think of hot flashes and night sweats and basic things that we've always heard, I'm not having hot sweats, I'm having power surges. But whatever it takes to make your system quiet down, it starts sometimes with the way we think in our brains. And our brains are racing all the time. You can think about it if you're laying in bed at night, and let's say all of a sudden you're thinking about all the things that you didn't do today or all the things you have to accomplish tomorrow. Those things are things that distract you from not only getting good rest, but when you're not getting good rest, it intensifies your symptoms in menopause. It intensifies worry and stress and anxiety and all the things that can build up to be something extremely dangerous. And that's mental health issues. And I always tell people reach out to someone. The person I was talking to earlier today said somebody reached out to them, and that's how it stopped the process and invited them to go to church.
Wow.
I mean, something as simple as an invitation to go somewhere to break a pattern that you're having mental challenges with. Remember, we talk about what you focus on expands. So if you're always having this sensation that things are overwhelming or, things become too much, and we hear a lot of this in the menopause rooms on Facebook and in other places, and people that are willing to stop life itself because they can't handle the situation at the moment. Well, we know through diet and different options, and of course, this balance oil and this test is a no-brainer. If you had imagined, we've talked to so many people this past week about this test. This test never existed. Doctors don't know about this test. Nobody knows about how to check and test your omegas. Well, now something's actually available that you can do that. Omegas in your body balance everything. And when you're out of balance, everything becomes a challenge. Everything has to work harder. Diseases progress. Things that never happened before in your life all of a sudden become challenging. So the balance is really important to get going, to get you in the right direction. And, pick somebody to talk to. We're available. If you want to send us a message or give us a call and you need somebody to talk to, we will be an ear for you. We will hook you up with, in a group where you feel safe. You should feel safe when you're discussing these things because in the past, they've been taboo. And if you can't talk about the things that are challenging for you. Now, earlier this morning, I was at PT and I was talking to my therapist at PT, and she was saying that her libido was affected so tremendously. So we know that when you're going through menopause, it does affect the libido. We know that it affects females in menopause. It affects men in andropause. We know that that's a huge challenge. Well, when you start to feel less desirable in a libido sense, or maybe just not having that urge at all to be with your partner, the things that happen that revolve and roll out from that can be very serious in your life. Because once you give up on any area of your life that needs attention, it creates a challenge in another area. And remember, we were saying what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on what you want, the results that you want, you're more likely to roll out with a better ending to the story than if you just keep focusing on all the stuff that's going wrong in your life every single day. We need to step up. We need to move forward in a direction that keeps us positive and moving on to the things that are going to make us a growing in a different way. Somebody this morning at physical therapies, somebody said I was 70, and this girl turns around and goes, "You're not 70." And I said, I feel younger today than I did 20 years ago. And I remembered one of our friends when we were in Utah in April. She said to me, she goes, "You looked older when you were 50 than you do now when you're 70." So things change when you start to get your body in balance. And it's not only the choices of food, which food is medicine. So you have to remember that food is a big part of what's going on, but it's everything. It's the imbalance of our hormones, it's the imbalance of our omegas, it's everything that we choose to put in our mouth, and we don't realize it because this is what we've been taught to do our whole life in the US. Whereas in Veronica and I just returned from Europe, and in Europe they're taught to eat properly. They don't have all the processed foods. They don't have all the garbage in their condiments. I mean, that was a big eye opener for me. What mayonnaise has nothing good in it. Trust me, absolutely nothing good in it. And same with ketchup. We looked at a little tiny bottle of ketchup when we had our fish and chips in England, and it was tomatoes and water and vinegar, and that's it. No chemicals, no seed oils, no anything. And same with the mayonnaise over there. So, I mean, it's the little things that we don't recognize, and it's only we don't recognize it because nobody has explained it to us. So we're going to share lots of tips with you down the road and in the future, and we're going to continue to help making us all better, healthier, and happier so that we can be that guiding light for the people around us.
Right.
And really get a chance to make a difference.
Oh, wow.
So,
Thank you, Renee.
yeah.
You're just so amazing, and you have a plethora of information. I'm
Mhm.
really excited when I hear you speak. And I'm going to turn this over to our other co-host, Miss Lisa Griggs.
Well, I always love when Renee, shares her, just all of her knowledge. Um, I was, I was sharing with somebody this morning, Renee, when we went to Tony Robbins 30 years ago in the front row. And my dad sent us there and to go learn some things. And I was telling somebody this story, and Renee's teaching me about the positive nod and just being so positive. And you've been such a mentor in my life, and just so grateful, because I always look at other people that are your age and I'm always like, oh my gosh, Renee seems so much younger, because people a lot of women don't give themselves the time or the love and the appreciation that they need for themselves to be able to be even available to everybody else.
Right.
So it's almost like they're taking care of everybody else first instead of themselves first, I guess. And
Well,
then,
I think that's a disservice that women
Yeah.
do. We take care of everybody else around us, but if we're not taking care of ourselves, then we can't really have the energy to take care of everybody we want to help. So, part of taking care of ourselves and doing what we're supposed to be doing is to be able to be available to help as many people as we possibly can. But you got to take care of you to be available to do that. So, and I know you guys know that.
yeah, yeah. So that was kind of the big thing for me. And then just, in talking about this emotional connection that we make, maybe even to ourselves, with regard to how we advocate, for our own bodies. And I'm so encouraged that there are women of these younger generations. And I got to interview one yesterday that's 19 that made a choice to advocate for her own well-being.
Yep.
And
That's
even
awesome.
though, she is surrounded by family members that are highly medicated, she
Yeah.
was able to control her diet to where she lost 50 pounds. She was able to get off of her seizure medication, be able to put a stop to her own epilepsy, seizures. And just to know that and have her mind in the right place of mental health because she chose to advocate for herself. And I think that's also a big discussion for women is that, we all are challenged and people are very complicated. Women are complicated, men are complicated, relationships are complicated. We as humans are complicated. And I think knowing that it gives us this extra like special measure of grace where we can kind of be easier on each other, but be easy on ourselves, too, and not be afraid to say, hey, you know what? I need to take a nap today.
Yeah.
I mean, that could even be a byproduct of protecting your mental health. And I'm sure there's many other things.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know you do a lot with Self-Care Sunday and different things like that. Maybe you could speak into that for a minute before we go back to Veronica.
Well, Self-Care Sunday is just the idea that you do something for you that's going to make sure that you're ready for your week. Whether it can be something spiritual for you, it can be something relaxing. It can be, for me, it's being surrounded by a house full of people on Sundays
Yeah.
from morning till night. So, I
Typical
mean,
extrovert.
but it's different for everybody. So it's what you need to do to energize for yourself. And maybe it's, pulling up your Bible app and pulling out a random scripture of something that you need to focus on for that day that is actually going to line up your week in put you in a great place. Every little thing can count. Ladies, just knowing that you take care of yourself, making sure that when you get up, you feed your body so that you can feed your brain. Our brain doesn't work very well if we're not taking care of how we're nourishing our bodies. So that makes a huge difference as well. And I just think that, Sunday's a great start of the week. I start Saturday night. I go to church on Saturday night because then Sunday I'm all
There.
raring to go. So, but I just, this week they were talking about the spiritual side of things, and I found it really interesting that they plugged into the fact that angels are messengers. And I kind of feel like we're somebody's angel out there by giving them a message of hope, of knowing that there are things that they can do to really make a difference and improve their daily lives so that they can think clearer and be better and do all those things. So I know I want to start sharing some recipes and some different things that we're going to start posting in our group. So make sure you click on that QR code if
Yeah.
you're not already in our group, so that we can share with you some things that are going to really help you on a day-to-day basis. And that's exciting. And then, I have to roll around to say, you have to think about the self-care as far as if you're in a relationship or if you're only in your own personal relationship, whatever it is, you have to take care of yourself in that department as well, because, our endorphins are a wonderful thing, but only if you use them. If you're not using the things in your body that you were given, the hormones, the way we add to our body and make things happen. And of course, there's so many different ways to do that. So, Lisa, Veronica, what's next?
You know what? I want to introduce a young woman who's on here with us this evening. I've gotten to meet her, and I've read about her. I hear about her. I've reached out to her. I've had conversations with her. She has a wonderful amount of information, and you know what? She's been through a lot, and she changed her whole total life. So, without further ado, please, Sandy, can we have you come on with us?
Woo-hoo!
Aw, thank you.
Oh, yay, Sandy. I love it. Sandy, maybe
Hi.
we could just ask you, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your background. And I love your story. I know, it's kind of grievous, but you're finding advocacy in that. And, as somebody that's been struggling with grief a lot this last year, just, with my own story with my son, you also lost a daughter, you also lost a husband, both to suicide. And
Yeah,
yeah,
daughter wasn't suicide. My
yeah,
daughter was drugs,
right,
but
addiction. But with that said, you've had a lot of loss and you've been able to turn that into advocacy. And that makes me emotional because I think women that are struggling with mental health issues, sometimes they can get very deep in the grief and they don't know how to shift out of it. And so maybe you could speak into that today, because I know that you've got this like so much knowledge, you've got certifications in nutrition and omega certifications on balancing the body. And, you've had life experiences. So maybe you
right.
could share a little bit today about your background and how you've been able to, turn this grief into advocacy around mental health.
Well, I mean, it's been a long journey. November will be 6 years since my husband's been gone. I did lose him to suicide, and he was on a medication that ended up, he got probably 85% of the rare side effects. The worst one was paranoid personality disorder. So he knew he wasn't right in his brain, and in his mind, he thought if he was gone, that would save us because the world was after him. And I mean, it took me some good time, and I became very spiritual during this time. And what I've learned is, I wish he was never on that med, and I wish we knew about what we know now. And I've chosen not to live in grief. So, a lot of people, I still know people that lost their husbands back then, and they live in grief. So, I mean, we were together for 45 years.
Wow.
So I didn't know, we met when we were 15 and we were together ever since. And I didn't know life without him. So it became a self journey on top of it. And with that journey, while I grieve him, I've learned I cannot live in grief. And it was a conscious decision daily to get out of bed and do it. And then June was 2 years that I lost my daughter to drugs. And yeah, it just, I've taken that and I became a nutritionist and health coach and an omega balancing coach. And now I've dedicated my life to help others.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's so beautiful because I feel like that part of it is how you shift out of the grief. And I realized that this last year, that after Judah's passing, it was like I just needed to start praying for other people and maybe hearing the things that they were struggling with on a daily basis
Right.
was shifting me out of that. So I love that you said you could have chosen to stay deep in the grief, but you actually chose to not be in the grief. And I think that's really, really commendable, because this was a man that you did so much life with. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, you didn't know how
I did not know life without him.
without him. That's crazy to me. I didn't realize that you were together for over 40 years. That is so long.
Yeah. Yeah. We were married 40 years and together for 45. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it just,
our show today is sponsored by Zenzino, a company
okay.
that you also advocate for, with regard to their balance oil and their fatty acid test, which has been instrumental, right? Over 590,000 people have tested their omega-6-3 ratio, which is so powerful because it really puts the power, back in your hands to be able to see that inflammation. Can you speak into that? Just because I know that had you known what you know now about the test and the balance oil, what choices would you have made different for your husband?
Well, I honestly feel that he wouldn't have had the anxiety that he had. He wouldn't, if we were able to get him in balance back then, he wouldn't have needed the meds that he was on.
Mhm.
He would have been able to focus naturally. I
Right.
mean, one thing that I learned, I mean, when he was first on the one drug, clonazepam is the drug that took him down.
Wow.
And when they first put him on, he'd complain about numbness from the back of his neck to the top of his head. He went to 3 different neurologists, 2 different ER visits, and every one of them told them the drug wouldn't do that.
Wow.
Well, fast forward, I was on a live tour. Brian Brio, I don't know if you guys know him
I
or not.
do. I do.
And I was doing one of his courses, and all of a sudden he says, everyone put your hand on the back of your neck, and that's where all your brain receptors are. And that goes up to the top of your head. And I went, tears just immediately. That was my connection, that everything he said was right. And it was killing off his brain receptors, is what the drug was doing. But that was my realization where everything just kind of started shifting.
Mhm.
And but he would have never been on this drug had we known.
Right.
And if he was in balance, because I'm sure he was very out of balance, because he did not, he liked his junk food, and we know now what that was and what that's done and what it's changed over the years. If he was in balance, he wouldn't have had the anxiety. He wouldn't have had the stress. It wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
So for that aspect, it definitely, you know, he didn't like taking the drugs, and, we didn't have an option back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So now it's kind of the advocacy of letting everybody know. It sounds like, I know that you're in a lot of groups and you love to share, about the test and obviously the balance oil. If you could speak into people today from the mental health piece, and women that are in menopause and different ones that may be even struggling, around this piece of suicide, what would you want to say to them today to encourage them to get tested so that they know about the omega-3/6 ratio in their body with regard to inflammation, and then as well as the oil?
I mean, to me, testing is the first place. So once you test, once you know, when I first tested, I was 13-1. I was in the red zone. And I had inflammation all over. I struggled to lose weight
Oh,
my whole life. And it was like light bulbs went off.
yeah.
And the more that I've learned, and yes, I took the oil. Well, 2 months into taking the oil, I was on blood pressure meds since I was in my 20s. And 2 months into taking the oil, every time I would walk, I would get super, super dizzy.
Mm,
So I went into the doctor and, take your blood pressure. I was 116/68.
wow.
Hmm.
And it's like, I've never been that low. At the doctor, especially, I'd be in the 150s/90. I
I'm-
had that white coat syndrome.
yes.
Me
Hello.
too.
And now,
So,
Sandy, I believe they changed the, right? Didn't, because I thought I saw a post that you mentioned where now they've actually changed the blood pressure, right? Numbers.
yeah, the American, heart, they're making it go lower than what it was before. And it's so anyway, so I talked the doctor into taking me off the meds. So, she cut it in half, and I averaged, even now, 120/75.
Phenomenal.
It was never that low while I was on
Yeah.
meds.
Hey, how are you?
That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. That
Yeah.
is so awesome.
And the balance oil at that point was my only change. So fast forward, I was on it, I don't know, maybe I started it March of 24. So we're in 25. So January of this year, all of a sudden, I wasn't able to lose weight. And I'd been working with a nutritionist myself, Robert. Had been working with him for 3 years. And all of a sudden, the weight started coming off. Well, when I tested in, I don't know, February, my cell membrane fluidity went from red to green.
Yay.
So it was, once that turned green, it was like a switch turned on in my body, and now I'm able to lose weight like a normal person.
Yeah,
Yay.
can you speak into that for just a minute? I know we're kind of at the 30-minute, the half-hour point here, but I think this is such a huge piece for those that are listening in today, because I know we've got some new gals on here right now, and I'm sure that there's some new people listening on the other platforms. The cell fluidity, which is kind of the aha moment for Renee as well. That's a huge piece to this, because if your cells are rigid, you're
Yeah.
not getting nothing into your body. We don't care
Right.
what supplements you're taking. You could be taking
I
100
used
supplements.
I used to take 30 different supplements a day.
Wow.
That sounds
I
like a
mean,
lot of money.
it would take me 2 hours every week to organize them all. And Robert would always ask me, "Why are you taking this?" Why? And one day he says, "Sit down and do research." Well, I found out most of them were doing me more harm than good. So I stopped that, and Zinzino's got some great supplements, and now that's all I take. I take the Extend Plus for my multivitamin. I take the Zeno Shine for my vitamin D. I take the Xenogene, which is supposed to help, from the studies and work I've done on that. It's supposed to help process and help to remove the dead cells from your body. And what else do I take? And I take the Viva Plus, which is amazing for anxiety and stress and sleep.
Nice.
I was before, I used to take melatonin to sleep. And after losing my husband, I mean, I wouldn't sleep. Well, that was one of the ones that I went cold turkey on, and I didn't sleep for 3 weeks
Yeah.
because
I
I
want
found out that melatonin causes more damage than good.
Right, right. I wanted to add with, I know Lisa, that's our new big word, cell membrane fluidity.
Yeah.
But I wanted to add that they tested over 20 plus omega-3 supplements,
Mhm.
gel capsules, and they were all lacking polyphenols.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what the big thing is. It's the
Right.
polyphenols that are protecting the omega-3s. And and has vitamin D and vitamin E in it. And there's no other balanced oil out there like that. And it also does come in a capsule. And
Yes.
I have to tell you, Sandy, my blood pressure has done the same. And I was so happy about that. It really was.
Yeah. Well, especially when you find out that being on meds, especially long term, will eventually lead to kidney disease.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, big pharma, I have learned, masks symptoms. They don't cure them.
Yeah, I'm sure Darlene Quinn right now is like, she's like probably wanting to unmute and just like, yes. You know? I see her on here. She's probably like, oh my gosh, I'm in total agreement with what Sandy Silver is saying. But yeah, gosh, you have so much information. And I know this whole thing around the cell fluidity is a really big piece. Veronica, thank you so much for mentioning that about the polyphenols.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that is a big piece to this, because there are, I think it's like an $800 million industry, the fish oil industry in the US. And so that means that 1 out of 5 Americans are on some type of fish oil, but not all of them are created equal. And I think
No.
that's what we're trying to, get that clarion call out there, that this is a patented formula. Obviously, it's test-based nutrition. So when you test, you don't have to guess. You
Right.
actually know, if you're out of balance and what that looks like. Like for me, my test was 33 to 1. And I mean, I love 33 to 1.
Well, my latest,
Veronica and I were better. Yes.
Yeah. And those polyphenols are coming from the Spanish pre-ripened green olives. Okay. That's where you get your omega-9, which is the polyphenols. And it's the richness of those polyphenols that help the omega-3s. So,
what what is, Veronica, my understanding is the polyphenols keep the fish oil from going rancid. It like encapsulates it so it can
it's like a
penetrate the
chaperone.
cells.
It's a chaperone.
It chaperones.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. They're pre-harvested quality, and they are cold pressed, so it actually gives you that extra virgin olive oil. But you know what? It's amazing, what's going on here and what we're doing. And I believe we have Jean. For those who are on here today, we have our giveaway. So we'll jump into that. So Miss Renee Rand, I think you can want to tell us one more time about that. Don't go anywhere, ladies.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, Sandy.
We have a romance package for you, or a choice of a self-care package, which this is also a self-care package. But anyway, you get your choice of which gift you would like, and it's full of all kinds of amazing goodies in here. So we want to get this out to one of our winners today, and we just want to say we appreciate everyone that shares our posts and invites people into our group, and we're building it with a purpose. We're building it with everyone in mind. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. And so, Jean, if you have our wheel going or our system going, can you tell us who our winner is today?
I know if Veronica shows up on there, I know someone's in here under my name, so you're gonna have to put your name. Make sure that other guest Veronica is on there, Jean.
Okay, what's their actual name?
Yeah, they're not in there anymore, honey. They're gone.
Oh, are
okay.
they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, they're there. They're still there.
Well, unmute and tell us who you are.
Yes, here, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Tell us who you are so we can get you on the wheel. Come on, come on. Otherwise, we're going to spin.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's
All right.
spin.
1, 2, 3, spin. Woohoo! Spin. All right.
So awesome.
Is that me?
That's
Yes,
you,
it is.
Linda
Linda.
Bigelow.
Linda
Woohoo!
Bigelow, yay.
All right, I have your address, girl.
She's in Sacramento right now.
I know. Congratulations. And we will text and
Congratulations.
figure out what we're sending you. And just thank you so much for all your support. You hop on here a lot. And we
Yeah.
appreciate every single one of you on here. And we want to give away lots more goodies in the future. So keep on sharing. And we have a busy month this week on our calls. And this weekend, don't forget, if you know anyone in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, send them to the Health and Wellness Expo at the Doubletree Hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And
Yes.
reach out to the people around you. It's Veronica's in Philly. Lisa's going to be back there. I'm going to be helping from the phone at home on this trip, but we'll all be on the road real soon. So we're looking forward to catching up with everyone and helping you with whatever we can help you with in the future. So, Veronica, you want to close us out today?
I do. We're going to be here same time, same place next week. We have another exciting topic coming up. Remember, it's breast cancer awareness month, and we have national, worldwide menopause day on October 18th. That's out in Las Vegas. And you know what? I'm super excited about our 50-state tour. Remember, the Power Hour ladies are going on the road, and we will be back here again next week. Don't forget to scan that QR code, share, join, invite. We look forward to seeing everyone back here.